this session is important. Well, all the sessions are very important, of course.
Now it's like this.
Exactly, because this session is, it was not simple to organize this session, because funding what we're going to do is not simple. However, we have thought about four different contributions. Finally, unfortunately, Mohamed Ben Kanun cannot be here. But then, and my colleagues from UPC, experts in entrepreneurship and so, Xavier Esteran cannot be here because he's flying now. So we had a confusion about the date. He was supposing that it was yesterday, his participation. So I will do it with pleasure. They are not my slides. You will see that my field is power electronics, and you will see I'm going to talk about something very different, but I think it's interesting. So we will have three perspectives. One which is local here in Barcelona, so the case of UPC, about how we fund actions. And then I will present two perspectives. One which is from the bottom, from the particular view of a researcher or a student that becomes an entrepreneur. Second, I will present the top view, so coming from the City Hall of Barcelona, essentially, and partially the regional government and partially the national government, but essentially the City Hall of Barcelona, how we structure, in cooperation with UPC and other actors, you will see, a campus in area. After that, we may have your contribution, and after that will come a colleague of mine. Unfortunately, nobody from the DG Education or Culture has come, but a colleague of mine working in UPC, in the Bureau of International Relations. She will come to talk about Erasmus+. Okay, so I'm going to start. I think that honestly, I strongly recommend that you take a careful look at the presentation, because now I'm going to make something like an overview because I'm not an expert, but I think it's very interesting. In UPC, for a long time we have been very concerned about entrepreneurship, valorization of research and so on. But this has been formally structured with this valorization unit in UPC, integrating the Intellectual Property Office, the Patents and Licensing Office, the Intellectual Property Rights, and the Program for Entrepreneurship. Just to give you an example about what has happened before of that, this means that our people are quite entrepreneurial. In 1984, 30 years ago, some graduates of the UPC, with the collaboration of a UPC professor, they were establishing Ecotecnia. Ecotecnia was a startup at that time. It became the 7th company in the world in wind turbines, and it was first bought by Mondragón Corporación Cooperativa, which is the most important cooperative in Europe, and later on was bought by Alstom. So now the center, I was commenting yesterday with some of you, the center in wind energy for Alstom is located here in Barcelona, and now it looks like General Electric or Siemens are going to buy this to Alstom. So, and this was a startup of our graduates in 1984. It was a real startup. So, let me tell you something about it. This is the valorization process that we explain. Well, not me, but the people of the valorization unit explain to our researchers. So, as you see here, the researchers, or the students, but usually the researchers, they work in something, and then they may get some innovation disclosure. We assess this, and then we decide if we protect or not. And we have people in UPC assisting them. After that, we may consider to put into market what they have invented. Okay, and then we may decide to run, to make an agreement with an existing business, or to create a new company. In any case, we explore the possibilities for licensing, how to do the commercialization, which is different according to the way, and finally, how to generate revenues, to growth and everything. Of course, this process is very complicated, because really generating more money than you have put into the system is not simple. But I will show you later on some figures. That's the general approach, okay? And here you can see some details on the side. Here I see some statistics, but I think for me this is really relevant. Since 1998, we're the first experience of this valorization unit was created, 250 companies have been created. EBT is the Spanish acronym. It's a technology-based enterprise. Okay, so 250 from 1988. I think I was surprised on that. These are not only in the field of energy, but in any field. But anyhow, it is really important. Here you can see the statistics about the assessed projects per year, etc., etc., etc. Please take a look. I think this is relevant. This is really relevant. Okay. This is making some strength about how to create a new company. And here we can see, for example, the sentence. You know the sentences. This guy, Ruben Bonet, is not so familiar. Is not so well known as Steve Jobs, of course. But he was creating a company, a startup in UPC called Fractus. This company, the objective of this company is to, the patent, the initial patent was an antenna for wireless communication using the fractal theory, the mathematical fractal theory, that makes possible to make the antenna much smaller, so much efficient in terms of cost, in terms of logistics, in terms of everything, This company has been so successful that it is now a multinational, and they have been, the only problem that they have had is that some American companies have tried to copy the concept of the antenna. They were going to court in the US and they won. So, and here, well, the sentence is in Catalan, but what he's saying is that the entrepreneur person is capable to identify an opportunity or to create it. So I think that vision is interesting, because yesterday somebody told me something the same about the Steve Jobs, that we can, or somebody of you, and now I don't remember, that perhaps it's good to identify the opportunity, but perhaps sometimes we can create the need for the customers. Okay. What do we need to start a business? You know, a good business plan and involvement and complementary team, and some proper funding. Of course, I will not go into the details, but because this is the general presentation about to motivate students. So, but I think it's interesting. Here is the full time diagram, in order to create successfully a new company, a startup. I think that everything is more or less understandable, and so I will skip a little bit the details. Okay. Here, Xavier Staran is saying about different ways to get ideas to create a startup. It's good to think about. Sometimes we think about the technology shift, sometimes to think about market changes, sometimes about societal changes. Dinosaur factor, I don't know exactly what is it, or irrational exuberance, I don't know exactly what is it. But if you, of course, I recommend that you check this, and if you have any comment, please tell me, and I will address to Xavier. The objective of UPC is to encourage this. So to identify the entrepreneur makes a business project. We try to select the innovative ones and related with technology. We are not interested in the non-technology projects, okay? Which is wise. I skip a little bit some of it. This is the first chart that this valorization unit asks the entrepreneurs to fill in order to identify if the idea is consistent or not. Okay. Here, this is a kind of checklist. Okay, and here you can have, this can be practical for you. These are the typical chapters of a good business plan. Of course, if you want more information, these people, not me, Xavier Staran and his people, they know how to assess you. I assume that you have different units, similar units in your universities. So, you know, one more. Here about for validating hypotheses, some of the methods are not so familiar to me, but I know some of them. There are methods like the lean startup. I'm not familiar with that. With the customer development concept, I'm not familiar with that, sorry. But I'm a little bit familiar about the Canvas model. Now it's becoming very popular. You can find many documents talking about the Canvas model. It's a very good, it's a structured way at the end to identify the weak points, the strong points of the ideas, to identify a little bit the market, the customers, the competitors, and these kind of things. Okay. This is interesting. I think it's not new. So this is the start of financing cycle. This is the value of this, because in this case you need money. You have no revenues. You have losses. So then you have to cross this valley, and then in time you can improve, reach the mezzanine, which is not so bad. And here, when we are really in the public market, then you have reached the objectives. I think this is quite typical. No? And of course, here they identify different funding schemes: business angels, seed capital. I don't know what is FFF. It's something funding, but I don't know what it is exactly. But this, sorry, I was not saying that this presentation is exactly the presentation Xavier Stran is doing for all the Kick Energy students in Barcelona. This presentation is being done for the students in detail every year, in the kick-off meeting of all the Kick Energy Masters, this presentation. Okay. Sorry, I was forgetting to mention this because I think it's interesting. The investors analyze very well the team, the scalability, and the investment proposal. They focus a lot on the team. And then you can see some examples of, you can check, if you're interested in some of the topics here, you can check in the website some of the recent startups that have been supported by this program in UPC. I skip it, okay? Of course, if you're interested, please tell me. Okay, so, well, this company is interesting because we're exploring to launch eventually in cooperation with Eindhoven an innovation project in Kick Energy with this company, because this company, they have a very good software. We're using this software for making the energy assessment in the UPC campus, and other companies have bought the same software. The software is really good because it has permitted to reduce the cost of energy in UPC, if I remember properly, reducing like a reduction of 23% or something like that. So it's relevant, And in UPC, my colleagues working in the energy efficiency project for our own consumption, they have, using this software that monitors the consumption of everything in energy in the campus, they have a system of prices. So in such a way that the different units of UPC, they get, if they reduce the invoice of the energy, they have some benefit on this reduction. So the university, in order to promote, I think that's been very wise, in order to promote that everybody works cooperatively and efficiently in this concept, they give some part of the reduction to the unit provoking that. So
is a real-time?
Pardon?
Is a real-time software with Capture?
Yes, yeah. There is some part which is based in some data that is offline, but the major part is real-time. And they was making a demonstration to some students from Eindhoven, from the TU Eindhoven, which is another partner in Kick Energy, and then the professors, we were talking about eventually to implement this in the Eindhoven airport or something. So we'll see. And I think that's essentially what I wanted to show you. Here you have, well, that's nice. Here you have the contact of Xavier Staran. So this is the guy, and he's young, but he's an excellent, very, very active. And this is, well, just to appreciate. Well, we can record the clapping and then we can show to for exactly for Xavier. Let me show you. I prefer now to move to the other presentation. This was for encouraging from the bottom to get funding. Okay. Let me show you now how to encourage from the top. So, this is the energy campus in UPC that we have. This is this concept of energy campus is coming from the national government in Spain. In fact, this has been an European, like a general European program for campuses of excellence. Unfortunately, here in Spain, the funding is not so good as in Germany. In Germany, the funding is really good, it's really solid. In the case of Spain, the money coming from the national government is only for credits, which is not bad, but it's not the best. We also have some small money from the regional government, but the main part of the real funding is coming from the City Hall, from la Mairie de Barcelona, because the City Hall, after in the planning with the Olympics, in the rebuilding, in the new urban planning for the city, because of the Olympics, they were planning the new, the former industrial area of the city in the, let's say, in the northern part of the city, close to the River Besós, was intended to create a new quarter, because it was plenty of businesses, it was plenty of small and medium enterprises with workshops and so. They were negotiating with all these companies to move out of the city, and then the area was used to create a new quarter, which is a knowledge quarter. So this is a big project of the city of Barcelona. And one part of and then different companies have installed in this area of Barcelona, like Alstom, like Akbar from the group GDF Suez, like General Electric, like Endesa, like Telefonica, Indra, many big companies here in Spain, and some of them multinational, some small companies, and the campus of energy. So it's a big, the area being covered by that, it's 10 times bigger than the area of the Olympic Village. 10 times bigger. So the area of the Olympic Village has been used as residential, but that's fine, because there are people living there close to the beach, that's fine. But this area has been used for being the knowledge district of Barcelona. So then, the idea is to have this campus to excel in the transformation of the energy sector and in the transformation of the city. Identifying the right agents coming from the top, so this is being directed essentially from the City Hall, and they were asking UPC to participate in that, so we were very happy, of course. We want to transform in very different ways, because we want to create jobs, we want to create economic activity, we want to create social responsibility. We'll see. The mission of the campus is to become, as you see, an active agent in the transformation of the energy sector at the city. In fact, they don't say so, but in the city. Through cooperative involvement in research and innovation, using the strengths and so of everything. The campus, as you see, is structured as a strategic consortium. You will see later on who are the members of the consortium. As a nucleus for knowledge, as a benchmark for quality. So here we have a benchmarking with the MIT. In this case, we have a cooperation with the MIT essentially to develop this campus of energy. This cooperation is being paid by the City Hall in Barcelona. We generate highly skilled people because of the participation of UPC. We're very happy about it, of course. And we also want to have a model for social responsibility, not only in the use of energy, in development of energy, but also in the knowledge use in the general sense. The campus model, you will see, it is based in the concept of the quadruple helix structure. This presentation was not prepared by me. It was prepared by other colleagues in another unit of UPC. So I have learned, you will see in the next slide, what is the quadruple helix structure. One of the main focuses of the campus is very aligned with Kicking Energy, what Claude was saying yesterday, with entrepreneurial spirit. We have the specialization in energy, that's clear. And we want to create a broad sphere of influence and local impact with an international projection and everything being collaborative. This is a concept, I see the quality of the projector is not so good. This is a concept of the quadruple helix. It's an helix where we incorporate, and the campus is connecting everything, we incorporate the knowledge generators, so the universities and the research centers are here. IREC, for example, you know them, they are here. The knowledge transformers, I don't know exactly about the philosophy of the knowledge transformers, but I assume that these are our graduates, our entrepreneurs, our people working in our companies. Then the participation of the civil society, this means the companies and other agents, foundations and so. And finally, the participation of the regulatory part, in the case of the energy, so the administration. These are the main partners, besides of UPC, in this campus energy, 2 research centers, CIEMAT and IREC. BETEC, which is the organization from the City Hall that is really managing and pushing on into the concept. Kick Energy, and then through BTEC, we have the cooperation with the MIT, for example. These are the strategic objectives: attracting international talent, consolidating international projection, adapting professional profiles to the demands of the society. So, work package to Magrenov. From cooperation to strategic partnership, like for example, Kick Energy and Magrenov. Consolidating social responsibility and accountability, because at the end we want to make something sustainable. Some actions to be deployed. New masters, perfectly aligned. Okay. A new PhD school, so we have perfectly aligned with what we're doing here. The cooperation with the Kick Energy PhD school, joint doctorates, pre and postdoctoral financial support, creation of the international welcome point resource. This is very important for the city, because that's the area. And a learning research center for this campus, collaborative with the citizens close to that. Remember that this is very strengthened by the City Hall. Well, then we have other actions which are a little bit more specific. You can take a look on that, because I think this is not essential for the message. I think that the message is essentially being said. Yeah. Perhaps just for you to know, the areas of specialization of the campus are on smart energy management systems, renewable energy, energy efficiency, nuclear fission and fusion. Because we have the name of the project for fusion, the name of the international project for fusion is ITER, exactly, sorry. So the project office of ITER is located there. Yeah. So you know that in Cadarache there is one of the big facilities, well, the big facility in Europe. However, the project management is being done from this campus. Well, I think we can skip this. Yes, we can skip this. Here it is interesting to say that we also want to incorporate SMEs, because SMEs are very important in the area of Barcelona, ever. They have been very important ever. And I think that's it. Okay? I think it's enough to see this perspective. So again, this is essentially to highlight for you some actions that have been put into practice, in this case, as I was saying, bottom up and top down. Okay? So now if you can contribute.